Hi, everyone, and welcome to Founded on Purpose, the show where we get to know the people working to align business and impact, profit, and purpose. I'm your host, Kt McBratney. Each episode, we ask a different person building an interesting company the same set of questions. Some are founders, some are funders, some are players making the ecosystem thrive. And while the questions are the same, the answers and the conversations they open up are wildly different and wonderful. Today, our guest is the queen herself, Chrystal Graves, the founder and CEO of Liquid, a decision engine helping salon owners increase their profits and build bigger businesses. Chrystal, welcome to the show.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so you're known as a dynamic and accomplished expert in the beauty industry. You've worked in it for over a decade, and you've done what many people aspire to, build a successful multi-site salon. You served the most diverse set of clients, and eventually you were able to have that business acquired. You're also a renowned coach and the leader of what I've just started calling the Slay Army, a group of salon owners, stylists, and coaches who care as much as you do about being profitable and being inclusive. All of that said, the first question I have for you, Chrystal, what is your purpose in one word?
Joy.
Say more. What does joy mean to you?
Joy means to me living in my radically authentic self. So it means being able to bring all of me to every conversation, every moment, every place and space that I occupy, without ever having to compromise who I am at my core to fit the mold. It just brings me joy.
Have you always been like that? Has that always been a motivating factor, and living in your authenticity has been, or is that something that developed along your very clear business success?
So I would say that living for things that bring me joy has always been a thing. I'm a person who had 100 jobs when I was younger, because I would be you only live once, and I'm not going to wake up every day and be miserable. So if I was miserable at a job, I'd be I'm looking for another job. Which really helped me with entrepreneurship, because I did 1 million jobs before I got into entrepreneurship. So I would say joy has always been an underlining thread throughout my life, but radically authentic came later with success of validation that I am a great business owner, that I am a great mom, that I am a great human, over time, and that I was only made as an individual. So who else can I be but myself? And that's what I'm meant to be. So, yeah.
Well, this might be related to that, because joy plays into this next question. So number 2, what is your most recent win? And you can interpret that however you will. It could be professional, it could be personal, it could be a bit of both.
I would say my most recent win, it kind of plays into the professional and personal side. So as a mom, I have 3 children, and I call them brood humans. And I've always instilled in them the ability to I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, where they are self-motivated, where they are independent. That's the word. I've always instilled in them independence and thinking and action and being. And as I am preparing to leave for a while, which is a huge win, it was oh man, this is what I've been preparing them for. And it kind of sounds really weird, but the moment that, as a parent, I always tell people you don't realize how well you did until they're away from you or you're away from them. And then you see all the things, the values that you instilled in them actually come to life, because you're not there to guide them. And they're on their own. So I would say that's kind of a current win. That's I'm going through the new great adventure for my company. And then as a mom, as a parent, I'm I feel good that my kids are independent enough that they'll be okay without me for a while.
The parallels and the lessons that can cross between parenting and being a founder, as a parent and former founder myself, it's the two things in my life. And I'm like you, I've done so many different jobs. Hey, McDonald's. This is my first job. But those are the two things in all of the different places I've sat, the different, like literally and figuratively, the different roles I've held, the different identities that I've had, feel the most similar, even though they're wildly different. And so that like ability to be able to step away and see them blossom into who you hoped they would be that's a huge win.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, okay. You operate in an area, in an industry that everybody knows. Everybody knows salons. We've all spent time in them. You know, the frequency depends, but like people are familiar with salons, but most people are not at all familiar with the salon business side of things, right? What is the single biggest missed opportunity in your field?
Customer service. Honestly, I think that within the industry where we're here to serve people, somehow we've forgotten that we're in the service industry, and that if you can just make people feel seen, heard, and belong, you will have lifelong clients and be able to feel a purpose that not only makes you happy, but lines your pockets as well.
And that's something we've talked about a bit, is this idea that like a lot of salon owners didn't start out in the industry because they wanted to like manage spreadsheets, right? They wanted to serve people and be creative and all of that. How do you think it gets lost in the busyness or the thick of everything that comes with managing a business? Or do you think it's a personality thing? Where do you think that happens?
Honestly, I think it happens at the beginning. I often tell people that cosmetology school set us to fail from the start. Again, we started businesses to do what we love with hair. And there's so much more in the full circle with business. And if you've never worked a job where you do customer service, or you've never worked it, you don't know what that looks like. And there's no blueprint or book that's teaching you that part. And then the other part is that you're also wearing all of these hats. And sometimes those small pieces get lost under the umbrella of all the big things, the payroll, the people, the product, those big things that you have to do, those big decisions, that some of the small ones that seem small get lost, like customer service.
Okay, this is off the list, but whatever, it's our podcast. We can do what we want. What has been like a really remarkable customer service experience you've had where you were like, oh, these people get it? Because like, I think that that's to your point. There's no rule book. There's best practices. You can read things. You can listen to, you can be trained. Like, sure, there are things out there, but like so many things in my world and community and brand, it's also such a feeling, right? Like, you know it when you see it, you know it when you don't see it. So like, has there been an experience lately where you were like, this person gets it? A++ customer service, people be like her?
Absolutely. I would say it was actually an experience at a hotel recently. And it was really from the moment that I arrived at the front. I was greeted by someone who took my bags, and that person like asked me how my day was. It wasn't even about the service that they were doing around like taking in my luggage. It was about me. Like, it was almost like they weren't just there to do the job. They were there to make sure that I, like, this holistic approach to like me. So they asked me how I was doing. And then they passed me off, and they were like, oh, this is Chrystal. She's here, from, Missouri. And, it was like this very awesome, like, welcome home kind of feeling. Like, it wasn't just about being there, but like your family in a way. So like, he passed me off to the front desk person, and she gave me all the tidbits and all the things, and not just about the hotel, but about the city and key factors that made me feel like I was going to be at home in the area I was in. So it was those small things that it wasn't about necessarily what the hotel was providing me, which was like a room and board, but about them wanting to give me more and making sure that Chrystal was okay, like holistically.
I think that's like, it's something I feel like as someone on the record pushing back against productivity and hustle culture as like do more. Oftentimes to me, it feels like we can lose the human element. Like, this is a full independent person who is the main character in their own movie of their life. And we see people as like just our relationship to them and like the sense of belonging, right? Like that's the foundation of brands. That's the foundation of community. That's the foundation of service. And I would say like a bedrock of being inclusive is making people feel like they belong and they're seen. And that's something else that like I've always admired in the way that you approach your work. It's not about inclusion as a box to be checked or just one piece. It's baked into how you as Chrystal, not you as a founder, a CEO, a tech builder. It's how you as Chrystal as a person show up in a space.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I agree. I tell people all the time, like, when our industry started having conversations around inclusivity, I was like, it's so interesting because it wasn't a conversation actually that I ever had. It wasn't like, I want to make everybody feel welcome. It was literally like, this is just who I am. And so because it was naturally who I am, it was in the heart of the company, the brand, and it just naturally just what we did. And then until it was like, oh, this thing is maybe talked about, then I could like point it out within our company. But it was literally just like, that's me. So it just came through as the heart of our company.
Which is so important. And it's like in tech, which can be so for better and for worse. Like oftentimes we take out some people elements to gain efficiency, to gain speed, to gain better results. And also we have to intentionally keep that inclusion in, which also I'm so excited to see how you do that as Liquid continues to like evolve and develop and grow as not just a company, but as a product. Because I think that's the Chrystal magic.
Absolutely. And believe me, that is very, very top of what is the core of our heart. I call it like our brand heart, like the core of our brand heart and who we are. It's about the people and really empowering the people to be better salon owners. And in order to do that, we have to really approach them from the holistic place and not just from the place of business.
Which it sounds like common sense. When you say it like that, I feel like everybody's probably like, yeah, of course. And also common sense isn't as common. Yep. It's true. It's true. All right, we're going to switch gears slightly. Because you are such a person that believes in radical authenticity, I feel completely safe to ask you somewhat of a bold question. Some folks get a little like, ooh, when we get here. The fourth question, we're halfway through. When was the last time you were wrong?
The last time I was wrong was this morning. And it's so interesting because I'm reading this book called The Mastery of Self. And it's written by the same person who wrote the For Agreement. And it's kind of like going back to what you said about being a part of like your own story. So we're living in our own stories. And sometimes we're so consumed with our stories that we just like the people around us just play a part in it. And so this morning, my mom expressed some discomfort around something. And I immediately was like getting my daughters ready. We were taking a walk and I was just like dismissive of like how she was feeling. And after she walked away, I immediately reminded myself like she was just a character in my story and that moment was like driving me crazy. And I was wrong. And so I needed to go back and apologize and say, hey, I'm sorry. Like, what can I do to like help you? And so really for me, again, being present in the thing and then realizing in the moment when I'm wrong that it's okay to go make it right. Like actually go make it right now.
There were like 8 amazing lessons probably like woven into that one story. And I love that and really respect that you, one, were so authentic with it. And talk about like, we're wrong in our personal lives. We're wrong in small ways. We're wrong in big ways. And it's really like how we navigate that. Like I was wrong about something today because I thought I wouldn't be able to record this podcast because my other camera wasn't working. And I was like, I can't do it with that fanciest piece of tech I have. What am I going to do? And then I was like, no. People aren't here for my video. They're not here because I've got a camera. They're here because I want to hear what you have to say. And like, it was a good lesson in getting out of my own way to be like, let the show go on. Not that it must go on, right? Because like wellness is another shared value between us. But like, the show ain't about me. Main character syndrome is a thing.
I've never heard that. I'm gonna borrow it.
Please, I borrowed it from someone. I don't know who, but thank you, whoever's out there. If I can find a link, I'll drop it in the show notes and be like, our recommendations.
Yeah.
All right. So with that conviction in mind, question 5, what is a hill you would die on? Something you believe in and you were like, this is something I will not compromise. I will absolutely go to bat for this belief, this idea, this value, this whatever it is.
I would say that right now and today, I would go to bat when it comes to liquid around making sure that we include everyone. Often, in order to get somewhere faster, like you said, we kind of cut out the people element. Like the hill that I will die on is that this product will be for the salon owners who dream of more, no matter what their business model is, their background is. I want to make sure that they have access to what we're building. So that's a hill that I will die on.
And how do you go about doing that? Like knowing that in coaching, similar to startups, like people are always like niche, 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 get super focused. Obviously, you've got to focus. It's salon owners who want more, right? That's not everyone on the planet. Like, I don't own a salon, so me trying to get me to use liquid, probably not a good use of your time and resources. But like, how do you go about doing that in the day-to-day of building a company and being that like decision maker on a team?
Honestly, it's understanding like what we're doing and why we're doing it, and being able to ask ourselves with every decision and choice that we're making, is this holding up our why we're doing the thing and what we're hoping to achieve by building what we're building. And if we look at it from the consumer side of the salon owner, it's like about, we reference like niche. One of our values is success through the power of self-determination. So I understand that even if we create a product that everybody may not see themselves in it, or maybe they will, but it's your success is based on your self-determination of actually like doing the work. Like my line in the stand is like, we all have to like do the work, like, and not in the hustle way, because I'm big on like, I totally like manifest and visualize my entire day, and then I put it in action. So it's the intersection between visualization and action that creates, the life that I want. So I think just understanding what we're doing, why we're doing it, and who we're doing it for will always keep that alignment.
This is what I love about these conversations is things like that come out. Practices, tools, beliefs, mindsets. Some of them are very tangible. Like some people are like, yeah, I use this program or this, whatever. But really, we get to peel back the layer and not just get to know you as a human who is building a business, but also learning how you get to where you're going, how you're defining success and how you're working towards it. And there is a lot of content and narrative in the startup world that is prescriptive and says, follow these 5 steps and you'll build your company's social following to 50K in 2 days. Follow these steps and you'll immediately raise $1 million. Like there's these things that say that you need to adhere to a certain framework, but the day-to-day of the job, the minute-to-minute of the job of building a company, building something from an idea and a belief and an experience is so personal, and we can borrow from those best practices. But I found that it's as important to like hear other ways, like how other people navigate the day-to-day of tackling something really big. And it's more than just saying, I followed 3 steps, click like to find more, right? Like, and so you know the clickbait of the formulas that I'm talking about, and they work. Like I've worked in social. I totally understand it. And at the same time, like what works for one person is not going to work for another person. And timing is different. There's all these different variables. And so I did not know that about you, that you like visualize and manifest. But you marry that with action. Like you live in both, it sounds like, at the same time.
Yes.
Does your team do the same?
I think so. It is definitely what surrounds me. And I think one of my team members said something one day on a phone call after, I don't know when this will air, so I don't know what I can say.
It will air later. You can say the things.
Okay, so after our team was preparing for our screening interview with Techstars, on the call, I was like, oh, you guys, we're in. Like, this is going to be just a formality. Like, we'll do great, but we're in. And so after we had the screening call, my team member, Stephanie, and I got on the call, and Stephanie was like, oh, it went great. And she was like, I just want to say to you, like, I have been a founder of a company. I'm a founder now. I would never tell my team, like, in such a like enthusiastic way that we're in, like your confidence and conviction. I was like, oh, I already manifested it. And there's this idea, like, no matter what you believe in practice, like, if you have faith in something, like, you don't sway. So just say, I don't, whatever you believe in, it's constantly listening to you, right? And so you say, like, we're going to do this thing. And then at the end of that sentence, you have this doubt in your mind. Well, it's like, okay, so what are we doing? Like, are we doing the thing or are we not doing the thing? Like, I don't know. You just gave me like mixed signals. And then you constantly put it out in the ethos that like you doubt yourself and you doubt this thing. And then that's just like confirmation over and over again. So for me, I'm a person who literally in my room, I have, and I didn't used to be like this, but I have a vision board of everything. And everyone that I work with, like, are vision board people. And it was like happenstance, because I find this out later, because but everything on my vision board is there, like, it's happened. And this didn't start, my first one I'm looking at it was in 21. And before that I was like, oh, that's so silly. I don't know why people do that. And now I'm like, I visualize, I write it down, I manifest it, I talk about it every day, and I talk about it as if it's done. And I want to surround myself with people like that, and not this toxic positivity thing, because I'm not like on board with that. Like, stuff happens and things are not always great, but understanding that life happens for me, not to me. And even when things bad happen, it's like, what's the lesson in this? And failure is just an opportunity to learn. And it was a lesson that I needed to get to the next level of whatever that is.
Yeah, this idea that success and failure are opposite poles and that there's one or the other. There's nothing in between. There's no degrees. There's no nuance. And it's so fascinating to me still that people are just like, either you're $1 billion company or you failed. Feel like if you get a $500 million company, that's still that's one kind of success. If you're living a fulfilling life, that's one kind of success. Like, it's all in how my brilliant friend Jen says, you tilt the prism. It's not that you're looking through a different lens or from a different perspective. It's like you're tilting the prism and seeing that there's multiple different things happening at once. And we have choices, we have action, even when things are not looking like they're in our favor.
Yeah.
All right. This is one of my favorite questions because, so you know the team at Pixel Recess, even the name itself, our venture studio, like, we value play. We know that, like, work is not, and it's not even that like hustle culture, that toxic positivity of like work hard, play hard, but we know that great ideas come, great relationships happen, sparks fly. Will you also give yourself time to play, time to experiment, explore, imagine, tinker, step away from a screen? Oh my gosh, shocking, right? Like, how dare we? How do you play?
I play in two ways. So I have a 10-year-old daughter and she's an artist. And so we play by like drawing and artwork, and my whole house is filled with like her artwork. So that's a way that I play. And then the other way is dancing. Like, I love dancing. I love live music, small crowds. So that's the way that I just like get back to the kid-like thing. And so anything that's like, I play on a kickball league. So anything that's considered like things that we did as children that brought us joy, that's how I play, like literally like true play. And that's what, and I didn't do that for a very, very long time. And I think that is how you said that, like finding that joy later. When I learned how to be a child again in places and spaces, it really created and unlocked a creativity and a freedom that I had never felt before as an adult.
And when we think about like when I think about you, there's such an energy, there's positivity, but there's like this there is this joy that comes from you, even before I knew what I know now, or what I knew, just meeting you for the first time. And yeah, I think about that too. Like sometimes I go on a walk and people are like, oh, so you can take calls, or so you can like listen to a podcast, or so you can, I'm like, no, I literally walk around and I notice things that I wouldn't notice if I was connected to something else or trying to have an objective. I'm all about efficiency, like love it, love her. And also sometimes like a pretty flower or a cool bee can just be appreciated for that. And like, I love that. Like returning to that childlike place. Like, why do we have to, yes, we can be serious business people. We can build wildly successful companies and have massive impact in the world and on profits. And why not also be able to dance?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hit you up for a playlist recommendation, and if you have any that you're willing to share with the audience, I will absolutely share that, because I have a feeling you've got some pretty sweet mixes.
I don't. So that is like false. So what's funny is when I go dance, it's like it's the vibe of wherever I go. So it's the live music vibe, whatever the flyer says. At home, I only listen to like affirmational music, like, and a little bit of like Mary J. Blige, and some old school R&B and hip hop. But for the most part, my entire playlist is like Tony Jones, Laurel, like, which is a genre that just came out about maybe 6 years ago. But I've met just about all the artists in the genre. Like, it is truly like straight affirmational music. So I will send you that playlist.
I love that. Also, early adopter. You're an early adopter here. Building community, being inclusive. I love it. There's the thread goes outside of the company. It started long before the beauty career and liquid.
Yeah, very much so.
All right. So with that in mind, actually, this is a really cool transition, thinking about affirmational music and that genre, but also where you sat with all of your different experiences. How do you know what advice to take? Because everybody's got some, and they will give it to you whether you want it or not. How do you navigate that?
Man, so what I would have said before I was a founder of a tech company is like, I knew a lot. So I knew a lot, and I knew to take the information and sift through what resonated with my business, what made sense to me, with my values. That was great. And now being a tech founder and being one after like 462 days, because I count them by days, it is really listening to the information, processing it, sitting with it, and then waiting 72 hours before I make a decision and choice that impacts the business. Because this is really ambiguous. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever said this about tech startups, so they're ambiguous. The goalpost is always moving, and validation is different depending on who you're talking to. So for me, it's like understanding the source that the information is coming from, understanding, is what I know to be true about the information and about our company and where we're going, and then what is important and valuable to me as Chrystal. So it's all of those things.
That's amazing advice. That's amazing advice about navigating advice. Like I said, I was saying it. I was like, is that making sense? All right, we are on question 8. I was going to use a baseball analogy, but it fell out of my head. So we're going to keep going. Because radical authenticity. What is your favorite part of your job? But first, what's your least favorite part? Because, not everything, you're wearing all the hats all the time.
I would say my least favorite job is like emails and like literally like, oh my God, if somebody can answer my emails, I could literally probably do just about everything else. Emails and my calendar. Those two things, like if someone can manage those, I'm actually talking to someone today. And this company, it's a new software company. They manage both home and work, which is different. So I'm super excited about that. But that's what I would say my least favorite part is.
I don't think, honestly, if somebody ever gets on the show and says that the favorite part of the job is the inbox and the calendar, I will like just stop and I don't even know what I'll do. I think I will just have a brain break because the struggle is real. Now, what about your favorite part? Because I know you love so much of what you do.
Honestly, my favorite part is talking to the salon owners and hearing their stories and then being able to provide a solution, whether that's based on the knowledge that I know or what we've created so far with our decision engine, and seeing them light up because it truly is related to their business. It's not this like big ambiguous thing. It's truly like I listened to them, I shared what was impactful for them, and then they could actually apply it and it would make a difference. So being able to like really make an individual difference with just a conversation.
That idea of building with, not just for. I love that. I love that. Okay, to close us out, obviously you've gained fans just by listening to this. If people have gotten this far in the episode, they are just like, I'm sure they're like, yes, sign me up. I want to be Chrystal's like fan club. Where can people find you? How can they learn more about Liquid? What's the best channels for them to follow your journey? Plug away.
Oh my goodness. So if you want to hang out with me, I'm really on Instagram at the Chrystal Graves. And if you want to follow the journey of Liquid infused with the Chrystal Graves, you can follow us on Instagram at Get Liquid AI. And you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook under Liquid.
I love it. And we will drop all of those links in the show notes. We understand it's a lot easier to give a click than sometimes to type it out, and want to make sure that everybody can access these amazing resources and follow you on your journey, because like, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to follow the joy, see what comes next. And thank you so much for bringing all the magic that is you. And that is, of course, fueling Liquid to the show. This was just such a treat to get this time to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and allowing me to share my journey with your community. Can't wait to hang out.
All right, see you next time.